Pero entonces, no, nosotros nada, gracias a Dios, nada. Porque el incendio fue en el departamento.
Porque tengo gente en otros países.
El tercero nuestro, nada más las paredes, todo el agua. Porque se filtró el agua. Así que eso es lo que tuvieron que arreglar.
Hi, are we gonna meet here or in the back or here? Well, then here.
So we have pizza, waiting for the kids.
Yeah. So it's both students are gonna be here. Yeah, so it'll be fun. Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Pedrito, Diana la conoce, ¿no?
Hi, how are you?
Bien, bueno. Bien. Corre, tomamos por acá, subimos el lugar.
No, pues ahí nos acomodamos, no hay problema.
On Zoom va a estar mi secretaria de Argentina, capaz un muchacho en España y una persona más.
Muy bien. And so they're going to be able to show the research then from here.
So I'm going to give that
Perfect. You'll give the overview and then we can do the
to
research.
everybody. So give
Okay,
them
perfect. Okay, very good. Very good.
Leonel,
Araceli.
Araceli.
Yes. Mexicana, de México.
Oh, yo tuve una relación con los mexicanos por 30 y pico de años, pero
¿Sí?
vengo de California.
Ah, usted
Así
estaba en
que-
California.
Sí, así
ok.
fue. Y ahora estoy acá trabajando con Daniel,
Perfecto.
así que
Muy
estoy
bien.
bien interiorizado de todo
De todo lo que anda haciendo,
lo
¿verdad?
que está haciendo, lo que quería hacer.
Organícelo. Hay que darle prioridad.
No.
Sí.
el texto y después me lo pones de
Sí.
vuelta.
Daniel, voy nada más a usar tu baño rapidito con permiso.
Bien.
Sí.
No, I say, you want to start eating the pizza? Okay, no, I say, dry milk, spray.
Wow, Mom, you came prepared today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Mom, right.
Mom just has to right. Mom got a big salad.
Yes.
I'm trying to push the salad on everyone.
I didn't know.
She said, you know, that's a big bowl.
Oh my.
That's all pumpkin salad.
Yo tengo una empresa de management consulting, operational performance. Trabajo con manufactura, warehouse and distribution, en el área de food and beverage y pharmaceutical. Todo lo que sea de lo que se tenga que manufacturar, fabricar. Trabajo con los sistemas de ERP, MRP, o sea, de materiales. Mucha tecnología, porque toda la operación requiere mucha tecnología. Y aparte de eso, tengo como 7 años ya de estar dando clases en Fox, the Fox School of Business en Temple University. Entonces ya tengo, sí, en la universidad ya tengo 7 años, creo que ya voy para 7 años. Y doy una clase de negocio internacional sobre Latinoamérica. Como 20 regiones de Latinoamérica.
¿Cómo se llama chico?
Una de esas es y apoyar
¿Quieres que se sirva la comida?
una lo que
Ok,
viene
que se
siendo
sirva la
management
comida.
consulting, programa.
Profesora, primero le damos de comer algo, coman algo los chicos,
Como
pobrecitos.
usted quiera.
Bien.
Tienen que viajar.
A la edad de 18 años tienen hambre ustedes, ¿no?
Siempre tienen hambre.
Tommy, you hungry? Tommy, so
Bueno, yo
Y los
también.
estudiantes están bien emocionados de trabajar en el proyecto.
Cuando
Cuando
les-
les
Un
proyectos
proyecto
So one professor ama desastre. One is Dominic, the other one
Dominic.
is David.
Dominic Baltasar and David Ripple.
So
They're both.
which one has beer?
They're both in my class, in my management
¿Cuál tiene
consulting class.
barba?
They both do, I think, a little bit. Well, David has big, like, curly hair, and I think Dominic is the one that has the beard.
Who's red hair?
That's David. David
That's
Ripple.
not David. David's red.
David is red.
David is the red hair.
No, David.
Dominic,
How are you?
David.
Good. Welcome, guys.
Nice to meet you, sir. No, Daniel.
That's David, yeah,
Yes, sir.
Daniel, and David Ripple, yeah.
So Tommy is graduated from
Temple.
Temple Fox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations.
He's doing an excellent career.
Yeah, good. Wonderful.
And we're just actors.
And
then
We're Daniel.
Diana.
Yeah,
Diana is also graduated from business school,
yeah,
and Nicole
Nicole.
is finishing pre-med, whatever.
yeah. Right. And?
And Aria is my wife, the brain.
The brain.
Elizabeth is the other brain.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then you have Pedrito,
yeah,
who
Pedrito
helped
lives here in the
me,
office.
helped me in the office on
That
sales.
was Diana, yeah.
And Diana, who has a lot of connections everywhere.
Yeah.
You need to get to somebody, you call Diana. Okay?
So what we thought is maybe eat first, and then we can kind of sit down, and Daniel would like to start with a presentation.
Just a
The stuff
little
he's
thing.
got. So
So-
just, if you wanna just put your stuff on, come on, and maybe
Wherever
put
you
it over
are
here,
comfortable.
and just come and sit maybe on this side, yep. Sí, porque Daniel es otra
Diana is
silla,
using
¿verdad?
on the-
Yeah, yeah, perfect, maybe right here, and then grab another chair from there, and we should be good. ¿Dónde quiere que se siente, Diana?
So start, can something critical, my boss here. He is.
Yeah, why don't we grab a quick plate, and then we can sit down. Go ahead, get up.
Juanit can see better.
Como dicen en México, dicen panza llena, corazón
Por
contento.
eso digo, cuando come puede pensar mejor.
So you have the maps?
Nos lo estaba preguntando a Diana para que dónde se acomodan los muchachos.
Donde ellos estén más cómodos.
O acá, ellos dos acá.
Ok, después ya para hablar sobre las tienes cómodos. Ellos estén cómodos. Diana se quiere sentar ya.
Ok, muy bien. Perfecto, ok.
Alguien se quiere estar acá.
Ok.
Diego Escobar está viniendo, así que seguramente lo pongo ahí.
I'm from up north, near Boston.
okay.
So I'm a bit farther away. Jersey Shore.
Tom's River.
Yeah.
Tom's River. Wow, I worked there one time.
Yeah.
In a Keller Williams office that used to be in Tom's River before the crack. When the economy crack, they crack the economy. Crash.
Big Italian guy.
No, female owner. What was the name of the lady? She was a sweet, was so sorry. But I knew I had to run because the escrow check, I was the listing agent on a property. We went for closing and they called me at the escrow check bouncing. She was taking money out of the escrow.
Oh, my gosh.
So
But
that was called me.
how is that even possible? I thought escrow accounts were very, you can't really.
So you have actually two types of escrow account. You have las escrow account that state oversee, like the attorneys. My escrow account is
Yeah.
state oversee.
Yeah.
So you sign, you give the bar association authority to go to your bank and look.
Sure, of course, of course.
But then the reality offices, they don't have a state control account.
Jersey Shore.
They need to have
So
a.
somebody goes from escrow, they don't.
You can cash them. So you look, when I do transactions from overseas, the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always ask them to wire the money to the law office escrow account.
There you go.
So we,
It's protected, yeah.
but
Anything minor.
so when the escrow account, well, we can have a run.
just worked out.
Es más calladito, pero es muy, bueno, los dos son.
So we sat first class, first day, sat near each other.
¿Cómo se llama?
That was actually more of a research thing. We both had it over it.
Professor, he's an expert in supply chain.
Supply
He's a
chain.
manager. Yeah.
Excellent, very good.
And he's looking into the hospital industry now after coronavirus. They start noticing they have a lot of things that they need everything today, not tomorrow.
Yeah, it's everything, right?
I do get it.
Very
Now you
good,
guys-
very good.
You guys don't have clout yet.
Super smart.
You're too kind.
Where's the pizza from? Where's the pizza from? You guys are tired of eating pizza, right? When I went to Tempe University, almost every day
Muy bien,
we got free
muy
pizza.
bien.
Yes.
I mean, how can I say no to pizza?
Free pizza.
Yeah, there's always an event in Tempe and you can, sneak
Y
in.
dejo mucho está.
I lived off campus, so it was first 2 years.
No, no,
A México no viene. Y hizo negocio, ¿no?
First in like 19. So.
Ah, Tijuana, Baja California, sí.
Sí.
It's like the 15 minutes. Are you guys roommates? Yeah.
Water,
Do you want
Diet
Diet
Coke,
Coke?
Sprite. Yeah, there's Diet Coke.
Oh my God, I would love a Diet Coke.
Get it.
Wow.
I think it's stocked, yeah. Just
Okay.
Diet Coke, one
This
second.
is-
You need syrup or something?
Nicole,
That one is like a kind of
Money.
liquor or something that he
So-
made. It's, remember, pero
¿cómo lo puse?
Labeled
it's
liquid.
like,
Is that yours in the fridge, the little labeled bottle of
el
syrup?
licor, Pedro, ¿de qué es? Cherry. ¿Cuál es el licor ese?
After the meeting, otherwise,
Oh, de, cherry, cherry.
Cherry.
A little more. Y ella,
Did you get this while you were abroad? I'm looking at this video up here. It's kind of.
I think it's just a
Si no
channel
se
of
tiene
place.
que trabajar con los muchachos aquí.
So actually, I was in that truck. That's his truck. That guy is that's the father of the modern Overland community. That's the brain. That's the meeting Enzo Ferrari in Kansas.
That's the truck we drove.
No, that's his truck. I mean, him and his wife probably over there. Ana, ¿quieren que pasemos ya?
Sí,
Yeah, we can sit.
you guys can sit right here, maybe.
Okay.
Sit right here.
Yeah,
And I'll sit right here.
snack.
That way we're practically saying.
A snack.
Mira,
Yeah, we love it.
grab another one so you have a.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's your weekend, then, Professor?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Just
My dad.
grading a few other
Every
people from the
morning.
IB course.
Literally every morning. I'm not serious.
A little bit from the Streetlights MBA
How
program
much
that
did you
I
learn?
teach for small businesses.
Yeah.
Their business, their growth plans, so.
You teach IB 3101, right?
I to know it's 25, or to the IB Latam, and fundamentals of, Latin American business, yeah. I've been teaching, that was the first course I actually started teaching 5 years ago.
How would you, like, judge students at Fox? Like, everybody kind of has their own rankings of how efficient like a major is when it comes to that.
Yeah,
And so how do you like that program?
the IB, I think it needs improvement. It's a little stale, a little outdated, and the guy that leads it, I'm not very impressed with him, the academic director.
You know,
Bertrand, yeah. He likes to travel a lot, but doesn't, I don't see any of that really. Like he and his wife take me all paid by Fox. And I'm going, so what about the programming? So,
This is
yeah,
a-
it's,
otro-
I'm not, I mean, that's just my sense, you know, just based on what I've seen. It could be a lot better, but I just don't think that it's that efficient to answer your question.
That's interesting to hear, because we have a friend who's in the ID program, and he's always.
Is that a similar impression?
Yeah, he's like, it's kind of a chore, and all my classes are
Cal
like
accepted
very
that.
difficult, not really learning much that's necessary.
Yeah.
Like, we're both in math,
Yeah.
and they literally go in, like every 3 years. we take this to update it.
Profesora, usted no come nada, hay ensalada también.
En una ensaladita sí yo me sirvo, gracias, sí.
Sin vergüenza.
Estaba esperando a que se
Ah, ok.
Yo trabajo con un holandés, pero de extracción muy pobre, así que no tiene contacto con...
Pero de alguna manera llegaste hasta que ya está la embajada.
Sí, sí, sí.
Hay que empezar de vuelta.
Mindful is taking through.
So, yes.
Para la
Gosh,
ensalada.
yeah.
I know, we need Tupperware.
I'm being asked about middle child. What?
We are
I'm
not.
gonna have to tell her it was awful.
Una persona más.
What's the middle child? It's where she
Siempre la
works.
gente.
Oh, no.
Sarah.
Oh, no.
I know.
I'm,
Esta ensalada
It's so awkward.
para una semana.
So say your experience wasn't that great.
Sí.
Oh.
in the whole group chat, you can say that.
Yeah. I mean, like, you already told me, it's like you're
Con esto me dijo gracias.
compare
Pero yo
mine.
dije, no, es una semana para terminar su.
I know.
So you find the office easily.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
great.
yeah. We actually used to rent out a storage unit, but,
On
Yeah.
Roosevelt Boulevard.
yeah. And we went there all the time, so we're kind of used to the area.
But you took 95 and get up here, like two or three exits, right?
32,
Yeah, yeah, I could
Tengo un
32.
PhD de tiempo con educación especial.
¿Usted?
I get every
Muy bien.
third word.
Y ahorita da clases a una nada más.
Soy psicóloga, trabajo en la
Ah,
psicología.
ok.
No se conoce.
No, pero ya pues.
Ella es la directora del Mexican Cultural Center.
No, no nos conocen.
No nos conocíamos.
Yo pensé, yo me jugaba que se conocían.
Sí, ya que hace un tiempo que yo no estoy conectada con eso.
Sí.
No,
Trabajo en la comunidad.
Ujú.
andábamos mucho con el cónsul anterior, ¿cómo se llamaba? Un muchachito que se fue a Japón, a China.
China se fue.
Thank you. Yo soy terrible con el nombre.
Porque la que estaba a ser una mujer, Alicia Kelber, que se fue a Houston. Y ahorita está Carlos Obrador Garrido.
Sí,
Do you
yo
live-
hice
do you
mi
live around
tesis
here?
de postdoctorado para
Yeah, like
la Universidad
half
de
an hour
Harvard
north from
con
here.
el tema de los
I
mexicanos
live
migrantes.
closer to Trenton than to
Iba
Philadelphia.
mucho a,
Do you do a lot of work in there?
No, this is my office, so most of my our work is around here.
Patricio
Okay,
Soria,
15 miles
entonces,
around.
yendo a
Jersey,
los consulados móviles.
Do you practice in
Entonces, ahí,
Jersey as well
después
as?
presenté ese proyecto en,
So I have two offices here, three
Harvard.
offices. I have a real estate office with license PA, New Jersey and New York. I have a law license here in New York. And then we open an insurance company, this license here and Jersey.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
so. Okay, first, thank you everybody for coming here on a Sunday. And as a token of appreciation, I make these shirts for everybody. So I
Oh,
don't
that
know
is so cool.
the sizes.
I'll be the model here.
My see that's me. I love the
Wow.
color.
It's very comfortable.
Daniel, thank you so
Stylish.
much.
I guess
Yeah,
this
then
one.
they can check the sizes.
Yeah, then can check the
Yeah,
sizes.
they can check the
I
sizes.
leave it here, so it will take a
Wonderful, thank you.
present. So I know Sunday is an inconvenience for everybody.
Not for a client,
Never heard of it.
never for a client.
Thank you. So let me give you a little overview about Overland. So everybody Overland, moving ourselves overland. Started more in the 40s during World War II, and then it got more and more popular. First started with small vehicles, and they grew until these monsters. The difference between overlanding and camping that many people think is the same, it's not the same. In overlanding, everything happens within the vehicle. The habitacle to sleep, eat, everything happened inside. So you can stop, and that's why you're camping that night. Now grew from post-World War II, they start getting bigger. So that guy, Tom Ritter, came out with the idea to start using the first military trucks as an overland vehicle, and they were the Unicat, the Unimogs, and he created a company Unicat because it was a unique category. That's where the name Unicat came from. That was nothing before. He invented the concept to do the overland in these big trucks. That's what I consider that guy the father of the modern overland, because he changed the system from a little jeep to a huge, humongous truck. Now he's building an 8x8, 16 tires. So we went there with my wife, and we actually saw the truck that is building for the ex-VP for Disney. He's building an 8x8 old firefighter truck that totally rebuilt. It's a $3.5 million truck. So the industry grew a lot from that little ship to this monster right now. So in here, I put together an idea of what was the Overland company concept that we developed. So this was changing within the times. In the very beginning was a plan that me and my wife were gonna travel, retire, put the property that we have rented out, and travel the world. Now buy one of these vehicles and go from one place to the other and intercome to America once in a while. Now, but I love business. So I start thinking how I can do this and make money in the same time. So I always thinking to go from here to Argentina, and I know that's the most desirable route from the US to Tierra del Fuego. And everybody cannot go because they're afraid, because of the cartels, the paramilitary groups, etc. So I come with the idea, if I plan a logistic that works for me, actually I can replicate that same concept and work for others, and collect a fee for the service. So that's where I start thinking about the Overland America concept. Now we went for the second time to the Expo in Europe, in Bankisa, Germany, and I start seeing all this money, 350 expositors, all the trucks were $1 million plus, and I said, wow, we're dealing with the top wealthy people in the world. I'm gonna go to a place which is the less fortunate people in the world, which is everywhere on the Andes area. So that would be cool if I can, connect both, the richest with the less fortunate people, and one can help the other, even if they give it a little bit. So I started playing with that thing on my brain. One moment where the last day we were saying bye to a road manufacturer, and the lady, the manager of the company, said, you guys were busy. Another guy interact with her in the middle in German, and they were talking. So when he left, I asked the lady what she said. So they had this truck called the Rhino, right, from crew expedition vehicles. And the lady said, you know what, the Rhino, we donate a portion of the sale of the truck to a rhino conservatory company in South Africa. And it hit me. If they doing this with the rhinos, why we don't do the same with the people? We care more about people than rhinos at the end of the day, right? So I start playing with this idea. When I met the people from Bliss Mobile in Netherlands, the lady mentioned to me, because it's funny, but the Queen of Netherlands is from Argentina. So she said to me, the president of the company said to me, we can call the tour Maxima, somehow because of the name of the lady. So I keep thinking along, and I remember 4 years ago we went with Diana because Maxima was coming to the US. So Diana created a quilt, right, for Maxima, and we met with the ambassador in Washington DC, and we gave him the quilt, and then Maxima sent her a letter, a thank you letter. So all these things start popping up on my brain, and the company I like the most is from Netherlands. So if we can put together the two concepts, the non-profit and the for-profit, we can probably, make it grow in a better direction. It's good to make money, but it's even a better taste if you make money and you give something back in between, right? You're helping somebody else. So originally,
Can we ask questions as you're going, or do we?
Yeah,
or
okay.
is that- Okay, so last night when we were reviewing all of the research, one thing that started popping up was the age group
Mhm.
that is the most popular. And it was between 30 and 40, 30 and 41. So you might have not one market, but two markets and maybe different tourists. But the other thing is, we were looking that it's Casa Argentina that would be, not, would it be purchasing the vehicles? No.
no,
Okay,
But
so but
Casa
Casa Argentina would be the vehicle. The
Casa Argentina is a
not-for-profit vehicle.
non-profit, right?
Understood, the nonprofit.
So we get money to help others.
Argentina.
That's gonna be through Casa Argentina because that money goes into
So-
Casa Argentina account.
Well, you're saying, this is important for us, so when we're doing all the performa, the financial performance for Overland. So I guess because the other question was, so part of it, let's say that you make $100, of those $100, a percentage goes to
Casa Argentina.
Casa Argentina to help people, like that's the philanthropic angle, that's the cost.
So on the Overland Americas side, which is a for-profit, a percentage of the income on our
Understood.
Casa Argentina,
Understood,
and whatever money that we raise for that venture, profit goes through Casa Argentina, we drop the check from that account.
So would it be, and I guess you being a lawyer, you've heard about this, I mean, would it be possible then to do the B Corp? Like the benefit, corporations that are set up to benefit certain groups of people?
I
They have a lot-
never thought about that. We have the regular non-profit license in Pennsylvania.
No, but I meant for, not for, I know you have that set up, but I'm saying for Overland Americas. Because Overland, if you have a B Corp versus a Corp, a B Corp means that you're benefiting a certain, you're having a societal impact
Okay,
on either people or whatever. So it might be something,
We can
we're
look.
going to suggest that
Okay.
within our research, because that's how a lot of companies are set up. And it's not so much, Etsy, even though they're in a mess right now, Etsy originally, Daniel.
What
have you
is
guys heard of
I don't
Etsy?
know what that is.
Okay,
What
so
is that?
Etsy was set
It's
up.
like homemade, like handmade crafts.
So,
that
but
people
the
sell
interesting
online.
thing though, Daniel, is that one initially was set up, and there's a lot of benefits to it, to be a B Corp, but it was initially set up as a B Corp. Precisely to help all of these people that were doing
Like
the
the
at home,
selling,
they were doing the crafts, they were doing everything. Unfortunately, Amazon, the monster of all
Bought it.
monsters, broke them in a way, because then they started saying, well, wait a second, maybe we can make more money if we allow, they started changing their business model, and which really, they ended up in a problem. But bottom line, whatever that model is, stay true to the model in a sense.
well, there's another company,
Yeah.
Tom, the one that they do
The shoes, yeah,
the shoes.
absolutely.
They, for every shoe they do, I think they
They
give
sell,
one something.
And
away.
there's a one.
So there's nothing
Okay,
wrong
all
to
right,
do something for profit and have a non-profit side.
Yeah.
It's something,
Okay.
I think, good for the community.
okay,
So who we are, me and my wife and my girls, we've been overlanding all over the world. They've been in India, Egypt, Tanzania, crazy Mongolia. They went on the Gobi Desert, changed a tire in the middle of Mongolia. So that's give you a lot of experience. I mean, we travel with 5. So we are a team. I mean, when we fly, one time we're coming from some place to Bangkok and there was no car. So my girls sit down on the airport and they start getting on the internet and they get a car right there. So we are very, used to having all these situations. So the Pan American Highway, and you have here the drawing, go all the way from through Alaska to Buenos Aires, and extension go to Tierra del Fuego. So this is a 20,000 miles highway, the longest highways in the world, and also the most desirable highways in the world. Was built originally from Argentina and up. When Argentina was doing good, they financed most of the construction all the way to here, and then each country contribute the rest. That's what we get all this area done in the beginning. So this is the group. So when you're talking about the groups 35 and 45, there is a little of confusion because more in America, the overland community, these people mix with the four-wheelers. Now the four-wheelers is another subcategory. Those are $50,000 income a year. That's a four-wheeler. These people are $500,000 plus. Nobody can get into this activity and live with $500,000. That truck is $1 million. So there's two different groups. And they overlap. I know in America they overlap because you have the expos here. It's the same because it's not that developed. That's why there's so much room. It's not that developed like in Europe. But the US commerce estimate $1 trillion of annually revenue just for the industry in the US. 1.5 in all America, around $3 trillion around the world. Just this industry alone. We were there with my wife. They're in the top of the engineering development. They're looking at things with water, all the reusable resources.
Is that accurate? So you're saying that for the US?
One is almost $1 trillion, yeah.
Just the US?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in here, like I said, they overlap the four-wheeling and the overlanding. He called everything overlanding, but that's come from the US Department of Commerce. In Europe, this is a great thing. In Europe, after COVID-19, it grew 400%. The industry, 400% in 2 years. So the concept of the expedition and the project and the Casa Argentina, so that's what I explained today. We've been using Casa Argentina almost for, I don't know, almost 7 years now. And now we can grow and it goes with the concept of because we're still helping the Latin American community. That's all Latin America. So it's not going to be an issue with the mission of the company. So we would like to do a social impact and also work, make some money on the business side, but give back to the community.
So when you say wealthy individuals, can you, what net worth? Like what's
those people?
Yeah,
Like a
what's-
yearly income.
I would say you have to, in Europe, you have to look on the people who is into this community. I would say 20 million plus, at least 20 million plus. Then you have other people that they're not full in the community, like The Rock. What's the name of The Rock? Dwayne Johnson.
Like fake celebrities.
Yeah, he bought 1,750 here, Ed Romer, and the other guy who did Aquaman. I can't remember this, the blonde guy. Yeah, he bought another one here for $1.5 million. But yes, this community is very educated, number one, and very wealthy. And most of the people are in Europe, Asia, Southeastern Asia. That's the places that they see more. I didn't know this. There's more overland people in Mongolia than in Europe. So this guy, Thomas Ritter, told me he sold more trucks to Mongolia than in Europe. So the country are doing well, like all the countries like Dubai, all that area, they buying this truck for them is inexpensive.
But would the people, so let's say that you're all set up and you have 8 trucks ready to go. Those aren't trucks that are owned by the people that are going on the expedition. Those are trucks that are owned by the manufacturers, and it's a lease, right?
No, there's
So
two. There's two. So the original concept, the main concept is you
People
own
that
your
buy their
truck.
own truck.
You own your truck. We serve the logistic. You come with us, and it's a true overland expedition experience because for the natural issues in Latin America. In some countries, you can't stay 2 weeks close to the Darien Gap because these people are the target. All these people are so wealthy. And that's huge trucks. Those are the targets. They want to be, those are the people that some of them will kidnap for money. So in certain countries, I know I had to move fast to get into area, like in Costa Rica, we can stay. In Costa Rica, we can stay, like a week. But all north of Mexico, and then the 3 countries, Guatemala. So that one we had to move forward, and then in Costa Rica we can stay all the way to Panama, then move to Colombia, North of Colombia, and going south.
So the research then that we're performing, the industry research, because we have to figure out, well, what is the market? What is the client? Okay, so so we're looking based on the research that we have right now, that it potentially could be two markets, two different age groups, right? And it might be different trips from you, where you might break them down. The issue there would be if millennials probably don't have, 20 million, however, they could afford paying, for leasing, depending on the length of the trip and whoever can provide the vehicles. But the market then that you're saying that we originally started with was people that actually own already their own overland vehicle. And at that point, the numbers are that you're looking at eight vehicles that you would take on expedition, not more than 8.
Because
Then
besides
2 people per vehicle. for
more or
example.
less, yeah. Usually that will be retired people that they own the truck. So this is a very specific type of truck. It's not any truck. Like he has a beautiful Chevrolet, but he cannot do it because you need to have enough fuel in the truck, enough capacity to move like 600 miles in one shot. I mean, you have to have a living quarter. You have to have a basic truck like the one that we have there. It's a
And the
million
trucks
truck.
are fully equipped.
Yes, they're self-contained,
So
fully equipped.
sleeping,
So this is not somebody who does for wheeling will join the expedition. It's impossible.
understood,
It's
understood.
physically impossible. So our plan on the tour is to have 4 trucks. 3 trucks are mandatory, which is the flagship. Then we're gonna need a full equipped ambulance, right? And then we're gonna need a mechanical truck. Because 2 things I know, somebody's gonna get hurt and something's gonna break. There's no way to, 20,000 miles, something gonna happen. You need to have a doctor on site and you need an ambulance because you have a little hospital on the ambulance and you have to replicate the same with the mechanics. Something's gonna break and now you have $500 million people right there with you, $500 million with you. You can't stay there for 6 months.
So in some of the research that we have, there's some that actually include a guide as part of this crew. Like there'll be somebody that's either very knowledgeable of the areas or somebody that. Okay. So I know we're just saying the things that we're kind of seeing so far in the research. But the other thing is where you say fully equipped video, audio, photography, in addition. So we talked about strategic partnerships, right?
Yeah.
So strategic partnerships, for example, are Cabela's or REI, Eastern Sports. What's the other?
So
one
let me
that's
tell a
thinking
true
about?
story. It's Friday. So I'm scouting for a truck, right? I'm scouting for a truck for ourselves. So I'm looking for a specific type of truck, 6x6, 23, okay. So we're looking online and I sent some emails since we came from Europe. And I get a call from a guy from International, Friday afternoon. I was in a closing. So I started talking to the guy and he was asked because I guess a couple of the trucks that I hit were on their website. So the guy wanna know what I'm looking for, what do you do, what you want, what do you need, what are we using for? So I started telling you what I need. I need a 6x6 with the ability to, I can switch from automatic to manual if I need to do it. I need a specific type of truck. And the guy said, I cannot use dualies. I know what they call as super cinders, which are the tires.
Yeah.
So the guy said to me, what you do with that? So I explained what I was doing, and I give an idea of the concept of helping people down the way. I said, wow, you know what? I'm in International, but I'm in corporate. I'm in Florida, and I'm gonna put you in contact with the marketing manager for Latin America, because we may be very interested in partnering up with you guys, because we are in Colombia, Ecuador, and we want to have presence, doing some social work in the area.
So
So
in
I
part of
send
our
you the-
research, we need to, we saw that because then what we need to include, what type, well, what does that, when you say strategic, strategic means a lot of different things to a lot of different companies. So when the reason I'm going back on this fully equipped video audio photography is because they're going to want to film people wearing the clothes, kind of, rugged, kind of.
Yeah, so my name is Diego
Hola,
Escobar.
Diego.
How are you? So we're gonna develop a little more of the information. At the end.
Yeah, I don't want to
But
get
we're
there
gonna-
because he's gonna
Okay.
I'm
make
gonna get to it.
Okay,
so-
oh,
So I don't
okay,
want
good,
to
good,
step
good.
into his shoes.
Okay, perfect, all right, good.
That's something when you start putting together a team, each team has their
Yeah,
own.
yeah,
So he's gonna go over the track idea, but the strategy mean, for instance, international, for him, for the track will be a great opportunity to show themselves in Latin America. The guy said to me, if we put our sign, you okay if we put our sign on the track? I don't care. He said, we don't wanna give you a track for free, but we're gonna work with you.
go ahead, David.
Would you, where would you plan on having security stay? And like what kind of crew for security would you plan on having for this? Because I figured they would have their own truck, but it seems like this would be the kind of, I feel like having 4 trucks already and like people traveling is already kind of a lot.
Yeah. What experience you have with security?
In what way?
In this kind of way, moving with people with money.
I mean,
I have a lot.
usually like bodyguards.
I used to use bodyguard myself.
Okay.
I used to be with people with a lot of money. Andrea is there right now, my secretary from Argentina. She knows, my wife knows me, so I've been around. So with this type of people, you can hire 2 little trucks, 2 guys in the front, 2 guys in the back. But the smartest thing to do in this scenario is to move fast. The country that are difficult, so the longest space that I have is this 936 kilometers from here to here. So once I get out from there, I'm home free on this. And then these are the 3 countries right here.
Then,
Okay.
so the other part that I would tell you is that in the part that Diana is gonna do, is gonna have a lot to do with getting together in contact with the cities in the areas that we're gonna travel. So in this case, like in the countries of Latin America, you might get a lot of support from the local cities, and that's one of the parts that we're gonna do as far as moving this idea forward, is that once you draw a map, very strategic map of where you're gonna be stopping, then you work with certain cities, and they will provide you security and stuff like that too. So as long as you use some kind of,
Contribution.
The local city wants you there because you're gonna do something, they want the
Yes,
picture,
So
they don't want
we have to
problems.
call that a contribution.
Yes.
I understand.
But
Yes.
going back to the concept, so if we do the rental tree, like she's saying, that's in South America, in that yes or yes, you need to have 2 little pickup trucks, 2 guys, one in the back, one in the front. Your first group of to stop anybody that show up in that area. But in here, the faster that you move, the smarter it is. Like a little army, you have to. That's what I call a true expedition experience.
So let me
because-
ask you another question, because when you're dealing with people, you potentially have to consider adverse events, right? So we're looking at insurance, we're looking at liabilities, we're looking at all of that in terms of the research. But the other thing is that companies that don't get into trouble if there's an adverse event are those that have, it's almost like you have policies and procedures that protect you. And by the way, they train people so they can know what the expectation is before they even get on the caravan, whatever point you're gonna go. And then they have to have, okay, it's almost like a frequently asked questions, if you will, but instead of them having to go on Google, it's literally a binder that shows you in case of emergency, in case of this. So it's called that, actually, for insurance purposes, will even provide better rates if you know you're prepared. So what does somebody do in case of what? And you start thinking about a gazillion things.
That's a great point. I just wrote it to work on that.
Yeah.
We can do probably a military briefing on the first day. I have a friend of mine who's a lieutenant colonel. He can put together like a military briefing, how to do, what not to do. That's a great point, my friend. We'll do
And
that.
how to, and actually how to react and respond, because, they have to be trained. For example, the thing that made me also think about it is when I was working at the bank, we had very specific instructions, particularly when you were talking about going down to where the vault, it was like millions and millions and millions of cash, right, of dollars. And believe it or not, going down that elevator, we got held up once. And the reason that nobody died is because we knew
There was a
exactly,
procedure.
because we knew there was a procedure, and we all knew, stay calm, don't make eye contact, just stay calm. And, until you get, anyway, so there was a very specific procedure. And the one thing that the assailant didn't know was that we actually had, not visible to us, but it was just very simple. Like if you're fixing your coat, they were
Panic
usually
button.
right here. You were wearing it. So before you went down into the vault, you would get strapped by security, tested, and make sure that you know how to use it. So if you have your little jacket on, it's, they wouldn't think that you're doing something because it isn't visible. So immediately when we knew that, so what I guess getting back to that is,
should
people
be a
have to know
briefing,
what
right.
to do and
Yeah.
have a briefing in terms of how to stay
That's
safe.
a great idea. But the first thing for you not to get in trouble is to avoid the problem,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Just avoid the problem. That's a smart thing to do. So that's the basic rule. And you have a picture here of the idea for you to visualize. This something like this will be the ambulance. Something like this, but in this setting, it's gonna be the mechanical truck, that's the art truck, and these are all the tools that the doctor uses in the field.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to raise, around $2 million. These are the cost of the whole thing.
Wait, go back.
So now you put me in trouble.
The arrow.
There's no arrow on it.
Okay.
Can he scroll back?
Oh, let me see.
Now,
I'm sorry.
this is like the old map quest. When they changed the houses you lost.
There it is.
Okay,
Yeah, that one right there. Let me see. Okay, so
The box,
we're
that
gonna
thing
have access to.
was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wanna send you that. The box is 400,000. The thing is 200,000. It's gonna be bought now. The mechanic, then June 2023, I had to get these two. This one and this one. That's another 200,000 both. Eventually, you're gonna need a HQ, like a headquarters. So it's another some money there.
What about all the other stuff like if you don't have cell towers along the way, I mean, if you don't have power charge, so all of that equipment.
So the truck is coming with the satellite
Oh,
internet and phone.
so it works off of satellite nodes?
Yeah, it comes with the satellites, the
okay,
satellite
okay.
receiver for the phone.
So it's nodes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that
I mean, they're built
is
for
that
that.
internet too? Satellite internet and phone
Yeah.
coverage?
Satellite nodes, yeah.
Yeah. They charge you by the minute, but you have it. So
Excuse me. Okay, keep going.
by January 2023, we're gonna launch the first testing expedition and the first Andes expedition. The first
You're
one.
gonna do two?
The first time that I'm gonna go there to scout the area. I also wanna do the first Andes expedition. So if we have money raised at that time, we're gonna pick a couple of cities and we're gonna do something for somebody on the first time. And my goal is to launch the first expedition by the end of 2023. That's for profit, right?
When you say nonprofit, it means you're not, what does that mean? It's gonna be absorbed by the funding?
Yeah. Which
So
I have to do-
nobody has to put any money, you're gonna fund that money, correct?
we have to do the first trip regardless. I mean, I cannot launch an expedition without being myself.
No,
there
I understand, but so it's gonna be several people, but the people that are going to
Where's
be
that fund?
joining you.
Where's that money?
We're gonna
come
do it
from?
ourselves.
You guys gonna.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's
Yes.
from the funding.
But if we get non-profit fund, we can use that first time to do something. Anyway, when I be there, so. So this is an idea of the cost for the expedition as a team. It's gonna be around $100,000
For vehicles.
for vehicles, okay? So in other words, if we charge 60,000 a truck, we're gonna need at least 2 trucks to break even.
So it's for all 4
Yeah,
plus the people that
yeah.
are going with you on it.
I mean, I estimated the cost of the doctor, the mechanic, air tickets, insurances, some,
Yeah, those are estimates, right? Yeah.
yeah. But this is you can see the biggest number are the fuel, daily expenses, and the shipment.
So you're
That- and
thinking,
in any venture.
wait, but daily expenses over what period of time?
90 days.
So that's the other thing, right?
Yeah.
So we have, so far, the industry that we've seen globally, okay, not just the Americas, is indicating between 30, what was it, 30?
The longest expedition we were able to find was like 45 days.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that point.
Yeah.
But that's a
Okay.
great point.
No, but we'll have to run the numbers. on
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
obviously,
I-
Because, okay,
You're gonna understand in the next slide. So in the very beginning, I was trying to do the one shot, no? One expedition. Then I keep thinking forward, and I said I should divide it in 2. And then I keep thinking forward, and I should divide it in 3. So the first part will be 25 days, the US to Panama. Right, that's 25 days. So you can do this leg, called the season 1, part 1, right? 25 days.
Well,
That is online what he's saying, up to 45 days.
hold
That
on.
is actually
So it's 4,500 miles.
miles,
Right.
7,000 kilometers.
So and that you're saying 25 days. Now, within that, obviously you have like where they're going to stop, what they're
Yeah.
gonna see, blah,
So
blah,
that's
blah.
gonna
So
be
is that
all the way
considered,
to here.
is that considered in the 25 days?
Yeah, all the way from here to here.
So
Wait,
from where to
would
where?
you- Where are you starting?
Because we have something that will show you.
I'm not sure where we're gonna start, but I like this section here to start close the Colorado's area, the Rocky Mountains, that section.
I will say, because originally when we were talking, you said something about like shipping it in and starting up in Delaware. And from personal experiences, from Delaware down to like Mexico, there's nothing.
I know. But the good thing is Delaware is the port.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah.
good port to be the recipient of the trucks.
Well, the other thing that we
You don't
saw,
wanna go this way because most of the people
No,
come
no, no.
this way.
but the other thing that
They
we
are
saw
also good,
was for one of your legs, and I guess we'll look at this in a second, but the other thing is if something has to be shipped from somewhere, and you start off at one of the biggest ports, which is Veracruz, and then that's literally then your way down into central and then all the way down south. If some of these
An
trucks,
option.
have,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
Veracruz is a great
because-
option. Where is that?
Veracruz, ahí está ahorita, donde dice, ahí está. Oh my God, it
it's
isn't,
not on the map.
oh,
No.
but we have it.
Yeah.
Okay, no, Veracruz something that on my mind, just as a backup point, because
Veracruz is very close to the border of Central America.
someone here.
No,
No,
Where the-
it is. It's
where
gotta be
that
right
little,
here.
right there,
Yeah,
right there,
right on
Okay,
where that
okay.
little thin place.
So just in case that something goes south in this area, that's my other option to go to Cartagena.
That's what I meant,
Yeah, I know, I had that in the back of my mind. Something goes back this way,
Yeah.
I can always do this way.
yes,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right,
and that's, a lot of people do that.
okay,
But people want to do this, right? People go all the way to Costa Rica, that's what they wanna do. But if eventually something happen here in Latin America, every day, right? So you will have to have a B plan. The second part will be from Cartagena all the way to Santo Domingo. So that's another port.
Santiago,
Santiago,
Santiago de Chile.
That's another big port. So if somebody wants to leave from here, they can ship the truck from there. So I need to find big ports too.
Mhm.
So this, and then the last part, it will be all the way down here, right? Incredible. Argentina is 30% of the whole trip. Just from here to here is 3,000 kilometers. So Argentina is huge.
Mhm.
So that we call the last section. And this is the trip in Argentina, right? It's a loop.
mhm,
So now, why professor was going, this and another opportunity that was brought to me by the manufacturers. They would like to provide 10 of this one and do 8-day trips in South America, anywhere in this area. So 10 to 12 days, 8 to 10 trucks, they own the truck. We do a training camp, one-way trip, can go from one point to the other back and forth. Brazil, Argentina.
So that's the other thing. So once they get there, do they fly out? Do
Yeah,
they
so
fly
the
back?
truck,
So-
in this particular, these are like a branch, right? So these 10 trucks is gonna be stationed already in South America.
So those are all costs to
Mhm.
the consumer, I mean, to the.
The
so-
people just travel there. They don't have a truck. They never did this. They're gonna test drive it.
Yeah.
So Diana and Tommy say, you know what? I like the overland community. I don't want to spend $1 million and try. You can pay 20,000 and try them out for 10 days. And then you fly back home. You leave the truck there, hassle free.
So it's the cost of a test drive is 20 grand.
Yeah.
For how many days?
10 to 12.
So 10 to 12, okay.
And they are fully booked. Anywhere that you have, these ones are fully booked. There's like a company called One Overland. They doing like probably 6 a year, 14 days, but like six expedition, right? More or less a year. And Krug manufacturer is very interested into that. They want to send me a proposal in 2 weeks. They are very interested in doing the same, this mobile. And this is the unit, more or less this is the unit. A little unit.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just before we move on from this, I think this is a great idea, but the one thing, so the people coming down, they would be driving the trucks, the people who are doing like the camping.
Yeah, they just come fly into the city. We take them to the truck. We give them a 1-day crash course,
Okay,
and then we make it, the other 9 days.
so do you know if like a regular because I know you can get an international driver's license, but
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily cover like
Trucks.
large trucks and vehicles. So I think that might be a little bit, just something.
So
to think about.
there's the other conflict, because people that are over the, let's say wealthy people, or they're over the age of 65. 65 to, I don't know, 75 or 50, let's just call it 55 plus. Because a lot of people that they're not quite retired, but there's a category for marketing purposes, 55 plus. So let's cover the 55 plus to, I don't know, 70, right?
So these
In
people
terms
here,
of driver's licenses and stuff like that.
these
you know,
people here are 35 to, I would say, 50 years old.
See, so that's where. the
That's
marketing-
this market
So
is
people
here
can
to that guy.
actually-
It's here to this couple right here.
Right.
You see, a couple like that. He been dreaming with he saw the trucks. He gonna try the trucks. So it's convinced the wife, let's do that for 10 days, and they'll do it. But 20, it sounds a lot, but you go to business, $10,000. So it's not that bad. But they give you the truck. You use the truck for free within the money. So so this is a plan that I have where if to doing the tour sales. So the thing I don't want to have is liability in the US. So my plan is to put the company who does the tour sales. It's gonna be created somewhere non-taxable foreign income country. So we don't have to pay tax.
So your sales arm is going to be
It's another company.
in Latin America.
Yes, and then the legal venue probably gonna be Buenos Aires. So this is this is something that I'm thinking to avoid legal issues. So this is the concept. The concept here for the job, Pedrito, is to make money on the commissions, right?
Okay.
So similar to the concept with the gala, that we sell a part, whatever we sell, the person who sells gets a portion of the money, right?
Yes.
So that's the same concept, basic commission of money. Everything has a percentage, whatever it is.
Yeah, okay, but what about the actual transaction? The funds, so I can see your sales team, so where's the account base for the transactions? Because if people are gonna say, I'm gonna pay with my American Express, you're telling me it's $40,000, okay, run it on my Amex.
So this is to raise in the money to do the company. So when we get in
No, I
partner,
understand, but I asked for if where the sales or if it's whoever is selling this, so yes, partly it's gonna be your website, the internet, whatever it is.
I would say 80% of these sales are based on website. It's rare that somebody come here and give you, you know what, I want to do a trip, I pay you for the trip. They do it online.
Okay, so no, but what I'm saying is the sales, because you need people manning, I mean, you need people that are asking questions, answering questions. Like then you can do some AI to where they can have a chat bot,
Yeah,
and that can happen depending like, but then at one point they need to talk to a person to say, can you send me information? What does this look like? So the website has to have not just the front end, but it has to have an operational back end to be able to capture bank transactions.
okay.
So that was my question. If your sales is is gonna be in Latin America, or I don't know, tell me again, so you're thinking in order for it to not be as expensive to the company,
No, my major concern is liability.
okay,
So I don't want to have the liability in the US. Like when you have a contract with your MasterCard, right?
so are you opening an entity in Latin America?
Someone, yeah, someone probably in the Cayman Island, which is close, so you can have the money there, and you wire the money from there to anywhere. You don't need to have
Okay.
that company here. You can
Okay.
have the company
So that's-
any non-transfer.
So financially, fiscally, legally speaking, potentially, it would be obviously house offshore.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's much more sense. Besides,
Panama.
90% of the trip happen outside the US. Why we wanna put ourselves into the jurisdiction of the United States? When I can prorogate the
well,
venue.
let's think about that for a second, just being devil's advocate. So a lot of people that are going to be paying, for something like this,
Mhm.
they sometimes, are you a US company? Where are you based? A lot of them that will ask that question, where are you based?
Where your credit card based? Your credit card company, where is based?
US?
But you don't know where, right?
Well, a lot of them Delaware for.
They try to
tax
look
reasons.
for venues that favorable for the credit card
Of
company.
course.
I don't think it's gonna be an issue where the company is based, more when they go into Latin America.
We'll make a kind of a note of it, within the business
Okay.
plan, because
Mhm.
those are, because we're looking at legal fiscal considerations. And again, it boils down because you're not just carrying this, you're carrying life.
I know,
So,
but what I'm saying, you can have the trucks here, but the people who sell the service, the tourist company is based in Latin America.
so does that mean you're using a third party? You're
Yes.
using like what used to be called, that they went out of business here, travel agencies, but.
It's
in
not
Latin
travel
America?
agency, it's a company
It's
that
a
we're gonna
tour-
control, but it's
So
not gonna be
that's
based here.
okay, so that's another thing. In other words, the potentially tour companies, in Latin America.
Yeah.
Okay,
That way you avoid the liability, that's just a protection. And then all these areas, no? So my goal is to divide the company in different sectors: finance, logistics, sales, media, events, administration, diplomatic, and Argentina. 30% is there. So each of these areas has to have a CEO similar with on the class, and then it's gonna be responsible for running their own operation. We have a goal, and you got to reach your own goal. You have to be liable for your own responsibility for your team, in other words. So that's the easy way, because it's impossible to run a concept like this just by one person. You need to delegate.
we need to do a diagram.
Yeah. So that would be.
We need to do a
companies.
diagram of the cash,
Eight companies.
whether, no, obviously via credit card, but we have to do a diagram.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that we're gonna keep where is this flowing and keep everything kind of straight.
So that was talk about the office structure, no?
Yeah.
So that way you can have a meeting once a month, whatever, to catch up, but each group is gonna be responsible for their own control. And then commissions.
So they have to use their own resources for this.
We're gonna work it out together, but like
But
Diego,
it's somebody that's already established, and you're calling them tour companies throughout the route or throughout Latin America, and you're saying there's 13, you identified 13 already.
Professor, the tours, so selling the tours is not the issue. Selling, believe me, the tours they sell by themselves. I know the manufacturers, they're very interested in partnering something with us like this. They have the people. That's not what I mean. That's the least of the complexity. Getting the clients is the easy part. Incredible. Putting together the concept is the difficult part for the logistics. So on the sales, for the company who is for profit, 20% of whatever we get is going to be back to the person who get it on money, and 10% in goods. Imagine that somebody can get a truck, an international truck. Say, Daniel, I got a deal with international. Here's the truck. The truck is $200,000. That's a good. The cost of the good is 200. That's $20,000, right? That's the on Overland America. Now on Expedition Andes, if somebody get, for instance, 500 iPads from Apple, so the non-profits don't want to have to pay 20%, but we have to work it out to give you at least 10% to the person who got the Apple contract, so they make money on the Apple contract, and 5%, sorry, 10% on the money and 5% on the goods. Super easy.
Okay.
Any questions?
Well, I'm the only
It
one that's
wasn't
been
an
asking
hour.
questions, so I'll let somebody else ask questions.
No?
No.
So these are people
So you can,
commissions.
or whoever's gonna do the presentation. Your laptop, so that we can just show them what we're doing.
Yeah.
You-
I think I left my laptop. I think,
Where's your
yeah, I'm just
bag?
gonna grab it right behind you.
So,
That one right there. Thank you.
Encontré la carta.
¿Eh?
Encontré la carta.
Bien, Diana. So, okay. So, okay.
we need the HDMI, right?
Yeah.
You need an HDMI?
Yeah, just so that we can project it.
Okay. You cannot do it Wi-Fi. No.
With Bluetooth?
Airplane.
We don't have Apple computers, we have Windows.
Windows doesn't have screen mirror?
Do you have a remote? Maybe I can like look through the settings real quick.
Yeah,
I mean, I could probably figure it out if you got a remote.
The remote?
Yeah. Is,
Actually, it's right here.
there we go, let's take, here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there it is, here we go.
Oh, are you seeing one? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do you
Pretty
guys?
short though.
Yeah, it's fine. It's there. Actually, that might be, yeah. Let's see, here's the airplay, but we don't have.
Hold on just a second.
Oh, we can put a chair here and put the
Yeah.
speaker on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that.
You wanna do that?
Yeah.
Open up those.
Yeah. Do you guys have the Wi-Fi password?
Yeah. That
Vamos
goes
a
a
Wi-Fi
password.
Yes.
Welcome. Capitals?
No.
All lowercase?
Welcome.
Are you guys legal real estate?
Yes.
Yes.
There you go. What HDMI, I guess is the first one, right?
Somebody could.
It's on this side.
Yeah, it's on the side,
on the
that's the tall side. I'm too short.
HDMI. How do I just-
So there might be already one connected. She just said it. Yeah.
Are all the HDMIs plugged in?
Well, I was she might have left one plugged in, but
I think all 4 look like they're plugged in. They're all HD streams.
Yeah, well,
This is HDMI 1, 2, 3, 4,
so there's 4.
4 plugins.
well, maybe we'll proceed to rather than see the. I'm not sure that any of them are plugged in actually.
Oh, then maybe I'm just reading it wrong.
No, yeah, I think you're fine. I don't know how to use the team that well.
And here
but
we
I'm
do,
pretty
here
sure
we
we'll-
are working EV.
Yes, it all comes full circle.
It's up inside, up in there.
I brought a mouse if it'll reach.
Jonathan, is there any chance that you have a slot when you put on your action center, do you have projects that you can do?
And Wi-Fi doesn't connect.
Yeah, we don't have that feature. It's an Apple feature.
Yeah.
No, this is,
Oh.
Is it Windows 10?
Yeah, it's Windows.
What I doing? I use my phone.
It's an Apple phone.
Does it move out?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah,
I know. It says online that you can do
Be
Windows
careful.
10.
you definitely can.
Mom, you
Be
can
careful, be
crack the
careful, be careful.
screen. Eh?
TV, you're
Don't do
hurting
it
this
like that. You're
TV.
gonna crack the
Check the
screen.
right size.
Here, Like the one,
Oh, yeah, there you go.
uh,
There we go. It's that one. He got it, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, you can do it on Windows 10 too.
Here I am. working
I
on it.
can't look at it and get
Yeah,
my
we-
own at the same
We
time.
do connect.
No, it's project.
That's not gonna do anything.
Nah,
Yeah, when we
Nah.
have
I'm
the
trying to
TV on
figure out.
Friday.
I'm also not.
Something's happening.
anymore.
Yeah, Jonathan Blazer, is that you?
Real
Google
quick.
fixes most things.
Yeah, could
Google
somebody,
fixes most
Okay, good, sorry.
Oh, nice, thank you.
Success?
I guess.
What, you got it? No, he did it.
do you know the security key?
Oh, I think it's legal real estate, the guest one. Do you see that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then if
Well, I
you
think you're connected to the
need a
internet.
password, it should be welcome, all lowercase.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, and I have more.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. I have an Excel sheet that's connected to Drive that I
Oh,
need.
do you have the password for the regular? Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos. Wait, there, this is the Spanish class.
That's what I do.
You want me to spell it?
Yeah, you want to do that for
Yeah,
me?
do the other one. This one might not work.
Any caps?
No. Now you know how to spell bienvenidos. And you don't? He spelled it on his own. He spelled it on his own.
Oh, yeah, no, my
Yeah,
sister
connected.
is
Oh.
fluent.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
You don't want to take notes, Jarvis?
He doesn't need to take notes.
Let me get his note. Let me get his
It's
notebook.
it's all up here.
Who's gonna have like a freak out one?
He is.
Brief intermission.
Yeah.
Yep. So those were answered.
I'm gonna open up my laptop just so I can.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
okay.
looking at it.
So we don't have a presentation, unfortunately. We
So
only have
this
some
is, yeah,
rundown.
so this is what we call just a research outline that has links, and this is where the report starts taking place. So it's just all information. Go ahead.
I'll start off with the bottom stuff, the industry research I did.
Yeah.
Starting right off, one of the biggest overland expos, just simply called Overland Expo. So the data's a bit off, but as you can see with it, 2015 to 2017, we had a very big growth in just about everything with this industry. They split it off into two different areas, East and West. East primarily focuses around the California, the Washington, and Alaska areas. Well, or no, it's the West, sorry. And the East handles the East Coast, Appalachia, White Mountains, New Hampshire areas. For a couple well-known companies for this place, the Latin America itself is pretty undeveloped when it comes to this industry. At most, the biggest we could find was $523 a day for, yep.
Anyways, I know the company, they don't do what I'm doing.
That's the thing.
That's a truck.
Yeah,
That's like a excursion truck.
yeah. So this is some general industry research. This isn't necessarily anything that's specific
But
to what we're
but
trying
it's
to
good
do.
to note here, though, that there's a big market for this. Meaning
Yeah,
it's an
yeah.
open space pretty much. So the market opportunity is big. for what Daniel is talking about, for what he
So
wants to do?
my forecasts go from 2021 to 2028, and we're looking at an average growth rate of 20.91%. The soft segment as of right now is by far the biggest part of this industry, and it's looking to get even bigger come 2028. So key market segments, we split it up to below 30, 30 to 41, 42 to 49, and 50 and above. And it's the biggest growth rate is obviously going to be 30 to 41, and currently the biggest industry for it is 30 to 41. This is relatively understandable. These people have the financial stability it takes to invest in such an expensive adventure tourism, while at the same time still having the energy and physical capabilities in order to handle this strain on them. So here is a density of the industry by region. So as you can see, the orange is places like Greenland, Iceland, and primarily Europe and Mongolia. America is a little bit developed when it comes to this industry. However, it's completely untapped. It's hard to see in this diagram. However, French Guiana has a pretty big industry for adventure tourism.
Which one?
French
French
Guiana.
Guiana.
Oh,
So it's puny on this, but it's a little bit orange there. Europe as of right now makes up more than 30% of the total industry, which is relatively understandable. But Asia Pacific is looking to hit a lot of growth soon enough. Travel agents versus direct, they're both relatively the same. Travel agents are not gonna be experiencing as much growth come 2028.
So stop right there for a second. So in this case, who's Daniel? Daniel.
He's right.
Oh, yeah, so Daniel, to your point about using the tour, those offices, the tour offices, right? That's what he means, so think about that as the travel agent, but this is specific obviously for these types of overland tours and expeditions. And then direct means that you actually have someone like sitting, either directly at here, selling direct, so you're not doing it through a third party. So this is just how the US breaks up the channels.
Direct is also, according to reviews, very much more favorable than going through any third party.
Well, money wise.
Yeah, money wise.
You keep more of the money.
but you understand that the third party is us too, right?
Well, I just know you put 13, meaning 13 tours. So you're going to set up your own tour companies.
No, 13 countries.
Well,
There's
13 countries. But what I'm saying is, when you say it's us, you mean it's our own tour people that are going to be selling,
I don't company.
and you're going to pay them a commission.
So
Cross off third party.
cross off third party.
So just
So
put
part of the people-
international expansion with own asset bases.
Part of the people come from the manufacturers. The manufacturer will put me in contact with Tommy, he owns one, he will add to the trip, but they don't have somebody who the logistics. So he usually is in touch with you, with the manufacturer. The manufacturer says, listen, we're working with Daniel in America to do the Pan American trip. That's how you get most of the people.
This one's a bit not necessary, but I felt like it was important anyway. Air-based activity for adventure tourism is slowly rising. Like people are, especially the wealthy constituents that we seem to be marketing towards, have their own airplanes. They all have pilot license. They find it enjoyable. And we are looking at a little bit of growth when it comes to air-based activity. However, still by far, land-based overland expeditions are dominating this market. And then this is the group demographics that I found. So couple right now, romantic couples, young 30 to 41-year-olds who are married, recently married, they're really filling up this market. Families are the second in line when it comes to pure numbers. However, family is also looking at a very massive burst in growth for the next 7 years.
I mean, to have a CAGR of that 20.9%, that's a really healthy, fast growing market.
Like, and it's really expecting to blow up soon, when it comes to these family-based expedition travels. These are some basic key market players that I've found. Not necessarily based in South America, but just in general. I didn't do too much research on these people yet.
Are you familiar with any of those, Tanya?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Geographic Expedition, if I'm not mistaken, is the Discovery Neomads. They're doing something similar to Net Geo, which is Discovery Channel. These are all companies, super well-known companies.
I just have some basic articles and then a couple of key market trends, only two. Millennials, the market is slowly changing. Millennials themselves are spending less and less money on materialistic things. And now we're entering the experience market, which means this entire market segment is now looking to pay top dollar for experiences, not necessarily the products, but experiences, which is
Exactly that.
it's exactly what we're doing here.
So the trend is that people are buying experiences. That's the key.
Yeah.
What experience can you give me? I mean, that's what I'm interested in. What does the experience look like?
You
So
wanna
that's
experience.
a new market.
It's nothing better than Latin America.
For more reasons than one, I agree with you, yes.
You go as a pup, you come back like Rambo.
You go to Latin America, believe me.
After that trip, you know.
You turned to a Rambo by the time.
You pet the lions in the savannah.
That's true.
And then with COVID-19, everybody, it's rough. However, especially the adventure tourism, the overland expedition industry, because they're slowly lowering restrictions. All these companies are looking up to make their losses by 2024, which is
That's
an insane
amazing.
recovery period.
That's
Because
pretty fast.
Besides this give you all the people who is concerned. So in the US you have two groups. One, the overland community. Also you have an overlap with we call the preppers. All these people that are ready to run away in case that you have a nuclear attack. These are the kind of people that also get into this market.
So as of right now, from what I can tell, like this current period is the perfect time to be establishing this type of business. I have a little bit of a spreadsheet right now. Not all the countries are available on it right now, but I did a basic Excel based on some countries in Latin America, comparing them towards the United Nations, the WHO, their Human Development Index, their general GDP, whether or not they're in the UNDP or the OCDE, the sustainability, development, safety, how welcoming they are towards tourists. So I think Venezuela is at the bottom, but I don't think we're.
I can't believe Uruguay is in the bottom.
Yeah, but look at where Argentina is. Which then you're saying 30% of the trip. So that what's interesting here this is really important
Yes.
for when we're going for funding for investors, because they're going to ask, well, did you look at United Nations? Did you look at the World Health Organization? Did you look at sustainability? Did you look at this? So they're going to ask all of these things, and we're going to show, well, guess what? 30%. I mean, you could do Argentina all freaking day long, all year long, just with that
It's not because
30%.
we are from Argentina.
You know what I'm
If
saying?
we want to sell this concept just in Argentina, we kill it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they want
So
to
listen, so guys, so here to the team. So the other thing that we do as part of the research is we do something that we call a heat map. So a heat map actually points out, based on the research, where your entry point should be. Like if you're saying I'm splitting it up in 3, well, no, hold on a second. Because it appears that based on this, the more the country that's popping up here, right up there, is Argentina. And if 30% of your growth or your income is gonna come from Argentina, then that would be the heat map 1. Meaning start here and then expand onto, all the way down to, then you see Costa Rica. I mean, they're middle of the road, and that has a lot to do because of the lack of safety.
But Costa Rica is super safety country. We say the safety country in the whole.
But some of the other marks on there were not as favorable. So that's what I'm saying. When we make decisions, we have to make decisions based on accurate and data and true data, not just, oh, I have an inkling or it's my sense that this is gonna work. Investors aren't gonna care about your inkling or your sense. Investors are gonna care about this to prove to them.
Mind you, this isn't all of the countries. There are some territories that I didn't include either due to lack of information or inability.
But we'll highlight those,
Yeah.
and because you didn't say
So
to us
Puerto Rico
anything
is
about
out.
the Caribbean.
Anything in the Caribbean is out because it's an island. We overland.
Well, no,
Well,
people fly there and have expeditions. They have the experiences.
Yeah,
So they still call it expeditions and within the territory,
Got it,
within
got
the
it.
island. But we will make a note that we're not including that
Okay.
in the report.
so just how I figured out these these values,
Yeah.
but so after that,
So usually all of these Excel sheets are formulaic in nature. So you're able to either run formulas. So when we do the performance, the financial performance, meaning this is how much we expect income wise, if we're able to do X amount of trips at these prices, et cetera. And we have to vet your pricing. We have to run numbers on it. And that goes into a performa. And then that performa is formulaic to where if you say, oh, I think if I increase it by 2 more trucks, or if I increase it by this, then that will, like the profit and loss that we just saw in class, do you remember that? So it's a similar thing where there's a formula there already and it just runs the numbers for you.
okay, Dave, you can pick up on the imports.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just stuff about moving trucks from Panama over to Colombia and just the shipping rates and how that'll.
Well, because it has to be a ferry.
Yeah, so there's businesses, I'm sure you know this, but the businesses that take trucks from Panama and move them to Colombia, it's very expensive. And it calculates a lot of how much of the weight and the length, like all that just adds more and more money on top of it. So
Should we convert this into the metric system or leave it and? Because I don't know if an investor's looking at this, they have trouble with a metric system, right? Because the US isn't on the metric system.
if it's US investors, I guess we get both. It wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Do you want both,
Yeah.
the metric and the conversion?
Yeah, because only US probably use these measurements.
Can we?
Yeah, only.
Yeah.
No, we'll have both.
And I was also looking at, the international driving permits, and they do have, it's actually like a great system where you just apply for it, you take a test, and then you have it for a year, but they only allow operating vehicles that are this very specific weight, 16,534 pounds. So I'm sure your vehicles might be a lot larger than that. Yeah.
So that's a question mark right there. Because you cannot have people driving without a driver's license. So we'll expand that research because that's an issue at the moment.
I can do something on that as well, but I never have a situation of, I talk with hundreds of people.
Can you get
Okay.
drivers for the trucks, or is it gonna be?
No, they
Or
would-
they're
they
gonna
would-
try
they
to
would.
more
There you go.
drive.
You have a Ferrari, want to drive it?
No,
I probably would.
no, but it's,
I wouldn't.
but again, this is part of the things that we have to note for you in terms of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
business.
That's good. I'm gonna.
Yeah, and then crossing borders was always considering. So this is a lot of this information is coming from people who did their own trips across the same route that you were talking about. So I kind of was looking at a lot of travel blogs, and they all said that there's tension between countries, that you kind of need to be aware of news and to avoid certain areas if something is happening that's very like current. So definitely like keeping very on top of information. Yeah. And then there's vehicle permit fees for countries, and they said most countries you're going to have to pay a fee or a bribe going in. And I'm not sure how that works for the caravan, but for one car it's one bribe, but I'm not sure how much you might need to pay for an entire group of people like that.
Basically talking about Mexico.
They were saying more
It's-
countries
it's all-
than
it's
just
all the way
Mexico.
through.
They were saying,
It's all the way
there's a lot of countries.
So again, let's do a parentheses right here. So bottom line, you mentioned, for example, three different, take your pick. Well, which one do you want to do, right? As an adventurer. So each of those cities that are included, or each of those and crossing into borders, we have to actually now separate to say like, okay, this one has these, from our research, there are certain permits or not, so that you can now understand what the cost potential could be, whether whether you have to bribe your way through it, or whatever or actually buy the permits. And the other thing is, remember that based on the competitiveness report of Latin America, sometimes getting a permit, you have to bribe to get the permit, because it's almost like you have to have somebody boots on the ground that understand, how it moves, going and begging, to the office saying, I need 6 permits because I have 10 vehicles with 10 drivers that are going to be crossing here within the next, 15 days or 20 days. Right? Okay, so we have to do that for you, because we don't want you to all of a sudden get an issue. And yeah, sometimes you can bribe your way out of it. I mean, let's face it, you can, but we don't want to. We want to make sure that we have, again, it's going back to that book of what happens if, right?
I'm not sure how exact I am with this information, but you remember the Paris-Dakar, the race Paris-Dakar, since that was from Europe to Africa. Since the Al-Qaeda took the north, they switched it from Latin America. So now the Paris-Dakar are the same.
Yeah. And I think,
I mean,
That's not a bad idea either, to include that route, like not through the desert, but to kind of include that route as part of what they do. They move it down there.
Right
they do-
now, when we run that heat map, just from everything that we're talking about, it seems like if you already have the vehicles from, I don't know how they're gonna get shipped for example, if you come down from one of these ports into Argentina, it seems like that is the best and the safe, and it's what I mean by contain, it's a more contained, even though it's completely an experience, but it's more contained than doing it like that. Do you know what I mean?
There's two different markets anyways. There is a market for the long trip, and it's another market for the short trip.
Yeah.
Sure. And you know what? And now the short trip might be really for those, Argentina's a beautiful romantic country, and it might be for that other market, meaning the people that are, 55 plus, where they can actually fly into, I don't
Buenos
know,
Aires, and then
where they can fly, because you would have something in Buenos Aires, right? So you fly into Buenos Aires and then go take that beautiful, and that would be a really kick-ass trip.
It's not a beautiful.
Right? It's gorgeous,
You
right?
really have to
Ya
go
me
to
preguntó
the-
Manolo y-
¿Tú vas a cenar?
Sí, ahorita te doy $20,000. No, but yeah, can you imagine that? That alone would sell it, and then you've got to.
So
A
let me
good
tell you
business.
something, on the 20,000, we're not gonna make the 20,000, right?
No,
We-
no,
we do the
I just
logistics,
threw
the
that
company
out
on
there.
the track,
I understand, yeah.
right? We are the Uber drivers.
But what I'm saying is precisely that, in terms of, because usually when you're starting a business, how can you get it up and going and like showing investors that you're actually making money, right? And usually that's how market entries work. Where is my cluster? Which one can I actually not worry so much about all of these borders and crossing borders? You would eliminate all of these fees, you would eliminate so many things because you're already in the country.
Yeah.
So to me, it makes financial sense as a market entry to that be the first market that you enter and that you start offering. And I guarantee you, it would sell like hotcakes.
You want to talk? Come on, say something.
I think that is not
So
like
this is my wife,
a really
my partner.
my idea, because if we're gonna work with the rental trucks in Argentina, we need to be in Argentina for a long time, because these companies, they're gonna send the truck and they need to have the truck either in Argentina or Uruguay, whatever it is.
The closest? Mhm.
Yeah, but they need to have the truck at least for 1 year. there,
Okay.
Because they need to do like at least maybe 6 or
Or
8
8 trips.
trips a year. But I don't want to be in Argentina for the whole year.
But you don't
No,
have, but no, but
But
you
you
don't
don't
have
have
to be.
You don't have to.
It can be structured in a way where, like a lot of these other trips that we were looking at, you know,
You're
they all
not
have
gonna be
guides.
receiving every truck that's gonna go
No.
across the border south. You can't.
You guys can't do that.
Anyway, let me tell you
So-
something, that
So,
little market
Scale,
of the
how do you
rentals,
scale the business? Scalability, you're referring to how do I scale the business without me having to spend, you're correct. Without me having to spend a year in Argentina. But that's where scaling the business comes in, because you say, well, okay, we can set people up. We can have, you know, professionals, we can have people as if you were there. But this is part now of your team that is now taking care of the trucks. They could do that all year.
to be honest, I don't think, and my wife, I understand where she's coming from. Okay, let me give you a background. We left Argentina because she was almost kidnapped. Okay, my daughter was almost kidnapped in my own country, in the corner of my own office. I couldn't protect my kid, so I decided to leave, no? So it's also for us, Argentina had all that thing in the back of our head. Now, I agree with you, it's a great concept, the rental is an awesome business, and that's the fastest to grow. That's $1 million business in the 30 years. Easy, because you have 8 trucks, $20,000,
Yeah, it's a constant.
10 times. So
It's a constant,
just
yeah.
do the math, how much it is?
What I will say on that aspect is that, like, kidnapping in Argentina almost disappeared. So once the police found.
No,
that
right.
That happened, so that.
That happened in
completely
2000 when
So
they,
that was 20 years ago. So once they found out, they knew how to stop it, they got the way, and that, like, there's
You know-
nothing that we have to be afraid of.
anyway, I agree with everybody that if we put that concept together, it has to be
Yeah.
partnered up with somebody local,
Exactly.
and that will be our next step, for sure, right?
Yeah, so obviously I left Mexico for similar reasons, but I can tell you, I don't know if you guys remember, not that long ago, I was in Baltimore, Maryland on business. And you remember when there was riots and fires and shootings and
yeah.
killings? So I was doing business with Under Armour, the company that's right there in Maryland. And it got so bad that people from the hotel, the staff couldn't leave, so they put barricades all around the hotel. And I was looking out the window and I was taking video and I was sending it to my mom in Mexico, saying, can you believe that this is happening in Baltimore, Maryland? And I'm on business.
Yeah.
And my mom, her words were, you were looking for an adventure, weren't you? Well, there you have it. That's called adventure. You're on an adventure. And that word stuck with me, but when you look at adventure, a lot of people weigh these, they weigh these
Yeah.
things, right?
They know what they're getting into.
They do, but that's what.
And
they're
these are the
looking for,
moral,
experience.
also,
Yeah, the moral,
the
yeah,
moral of
yeah,
the
yeah,
people
yeah.
to get into a
It-
problem.
it is.
What happened? The child was killed. Let me see, it's killed, yeah, it's killed. Right?
But what I'm saying is that, so there's some good points or good selling points, but yeah, I mean, it's all in how you structure it. So for us, this was very important from a research perspective, because you answered some of the questions
Let me tell you something,
and some things that potentially we didn't quite know how to put into the research report.
even further. When you're planning a business, when you're doing a business, the easy business is what the market is asking. So when we're sitting with the manufacturers said, listen, Daniel, can you put a 10 to 11? I put the trucks. I had 10 trucks to do that.
Perfect.
We went to the Ukrainian people in Austria, said, I want to do that. Can you handle the rentals? The people was asking for that.
Yeah.
The market was asking for that.
Well, because they can't have assets that aren't being utilized. I mean, they've got that, they're not making money. So they're willing to do the partnership, the strategic
And
partnership.
they saw another company in Europe that's killing with this.
Yeah.
It's making a killing.
What else, guys? That's pretty much.
When you were talking about that Bliss Mobile deal you said you could set up, you know, I know we just talked about staying in Argentina, but I think that's like a home run.
The Bliss Mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's, you
That's
know,
a huge.
get a few routes, maybe have some smaller trips within Argentina and Chile, and then maybe have a few that go up to Peru and Ecuador. and
You could
Colombia.
make, you could make
Exactly.
money,
Exactly.
he could make money coming and going on it.
You know, but
We can
you're
bring
fine,
money.
you're completely fine going from Colombia down to the south of Argentina.
No organization
Going through
function without a
Bolivia
team. You don't have a team, you have nothing. No matter if you are-
Safety is fine,
Microsoft.
not conflicts, you know. So that's like going from Colombia down to.
So the other thing for the business plan, we need to know who that team is. just because the SBA will look at it or investors will look at it, they want to see, well, who's running this? Who's the CEO? Who's the person that's actually doing planning or logistics or who's, so you have to have,
I need specifications for the trucks too.
oh, and we need specifications for the vehicles and that.
Yeah, that's a big one,
That's a
especially for
huge
import tax rates.
We need, so that we can calculate the rates.
Or if they could be, even be driven, because everything's right side. If it's a European company, it might be left side drive, you know?
That's, did you hear that, Danny?
I'm sorry, what?
So, if you're getting these trucks from Europe, it might be a left side drive.
No, it is from, yeah, that's a good concept, but this coming from, no, not from the islands, from Central Europe.
So.
Yeah, but still, but wouldn't that be?
I'm talking about like specifically the Bliss mobile trucks, they can be driven on the right side of the road.
They drive like here, they are from Netherlands, yeah. Let me show you this, so,
Here, I'll disconnect mine.
you have to.
I think, hold on, let me-
Oh,
So I took this, I didn't wanna put this thing there, but,
So it'll be-
Okay.
so if we're talking about team, this is the basic that I have. So the team had to be divided, everybody had to have a function, media is him, website, Asalis, Mendes, he was very interesting, he asked me several questions. Finance, he got involved, logistic in the US, Analia, Andrea is in Argentina, Pedro Feldman, with my shoe is in the bathroom, but he's himself. All of the diplomatic area is Diana. I have a guy who does the printing, which are Daniel. And I know these people from, so all these people are involved on Argentina, all this is our team. So I just moving the team into the new project. And I spoke, they're all in the
And
same place.
you're at the top there. You're the CEO.
I'm everywhere. I'm the guy, I'm the go guy, the guy who bring the stage, the guy who open the gala, the guy who close the gala. The clean the stuff, stay there until the end.
Okay.
Dieguito, it's all yours.
Do you have a, can you put that email that I just sent you, open it up?
Yes, I didn't touch this one because your thing is here actually. So let me have to pay. Nicole, we need your brain. So my girls are the one who knows all this computer thing. She's going from mail.
Dad, look, Dad.
Oh, that one. I'm
You're not
sorry.
even on it. You just want to be on it now?
So easy.
No, yeah, it is. Look, I'm not gonna be here forever.
For you.
I'm dying.
So Dieguito,
not gonna be here.
Okay,
so touch the screen, gonna move.
okay, to the right, to the left.
Just touch.
Just touch. Okay, so Daniel asked us to get
Contá un
into this-
poquito quién sos vos.
into this plan. So we have a team of people in our company. We have a company that's called Latino News Network. We have a newspaper, online newspaper, and we also create a magazine that is called Mango. It's a monthly magazine. So we got involved with a lot of professionals in the area of journalism, documentary. Why we got into the documentary part is because like we interview for the magazine, like big personality once a month, and we place a video together with in the website of the magazine. So everybody can see, an extended interview of these people. So we gotta have a group of people that they are getting to see this interview and what the information comes to the magazine.
So everybody's here for a reason, okay? Nobody's here by mistake.
So this is what we came up with. Okay, so there's some answers and questions on this concept. So what we can do is about the production and audiovisual part of this trip. So Daniel wants to put an idea of creating a documentary about going through all this process. Maybe he didn't understand what he was getting into, but I got to do some research with my team, and that's what we came up with. The production team, we're gonna be putting the ideas together. You gotta do script if you wanna do one of these kind of, how do you call it? You put it in Spanish, I completely forget that. If you wanna do one of these documentaries, you gotta have a script.
Yeah.
So you gotta be prepared. They gotta
I mean,
have.
content, building the content.
Building the content, because it's companies, what they want is some 3 or 4 specific things that they want to see in a documentary in order for them to be able to sell it. So one of the question is, if we create something like this, we base it on what? We base it on the people that's going on the trip. These people is not gonna want to be filmed, but we want to film the trip. But we're gonna have some personalities in there that are gonna make that trip fun, even if we don't get to these people to be in the videos. The other part is that the philanthropy part that Daniel wants to put together into this idea of traveling to countries and doing something in every city that we stop, or some cities that we stop, giving back to the community that is receiving us. And that is something also that we're gonna try to partner with the cities and countries, and there's a whole concept that we're
Con
gonna
los
do this,
consejos
like-
de Nacional de Turismo, en todas esas áreas.
Exactly.
Todos lo tienen.
Yeah. The production is the filming, the photography, the camera, we need sound and lighting. So that right there tells you that in a trip like this, you're gonna have at least 3 or 4 people, minimum.
Actually, you have a guy who does that, who used to do the venture.
We have a guy that travels all throughout South America. It's a guy that does the traveling part of the magazine. And the production, we have to put together the videos, set up everything, edit everything. We gotta have to create the effects, audiovisual effects, and we gotta make everybody to know what we're doing. So we can provide the adventure team. The adventure team is gonna have a director, a camera, photography, second camera, and logistics of the trip. So that's people that you're gonna need in the trip, because they gotta keep editing the
Yeah, they need
material
time.
that they are doing every day. And after the trip, we need edition, music, and maybe speaker, somebody that's gonna narrate the story.
Narrator. Yep.
Yeah. So this is our team works together with the people who created this documentary. And I don't know how to. Sorry, this is not your dad, but do you think we can play this video? Okay.
No, for him, you're nice.
Oh, no,
Oh,
I
this
see.
is a trick.
Dad, you better know how we can. Here.
Oh, like, yeah, I'm old fashioned like your
No,
dad.
you're fine.
That's old fashioned. Oh,
Entonces, al otro día, hice yo lo que hizo padre en la cuna y no se para. A las 6 de la tarde me habla mi señora que lo había llevado al médico y que le habían dicho que tenía polio.
Me demuestra todo el tiempo que sí se puede. Caso para empezar fundamentalmente las inferiores. Tengo salpicado, por decirlo de alguna forma, una porción de expresión del brazo izquierdo, la mano derecha. Tengo parte de los abdominales, algunas fibras están activas, otras no. Ya no, para. 20 kilómetros. Siempre me pareció algo por el precio de la
This is a documentary that this person called Jamaji is a guy with polio on his leg. So he decided one day to do something extreme to change his life. He decided to start doing marathons with an adapted bike. And one day he decided to climb the Himalayan mountain. And we worked with these people and with the guys that created this documentary. This documentary right now is on Netflix. So we have a lot of internal information, and we have people that can create something that can go to mainstream companies. Having that information, come on. Yeah, was it? Okay, that.
Like I said, everybody here for a reason.
And then to go back.
Okay.
Do you want to go back?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you skipped the slide.
Let me see. Sorry.
You got it.
Okay, so we have to, this is what we're gonna do as a press. The part of the press that we have to do in every country is we have to transform all this information, what we're gonna create, this adventure, this traveling into a fun expedition and in a fun environment for the countries that are welcome, or cities or stuff like that. So we gotta promote everything. We gotta try to communicate all this information in a very good way where we can produce some value of the message of what we're doing. So when we get to these cities, we can be welcome. And we can distribute all that information to social media. We're gonna work with the press companies or the press in the city, who is part of the press. We can create all that information. We have a network, network of people that is right now in probably 8 countries in Latin America. And that's a small group. We can create all this. We can create a documentary like that, and it's gonna be 14 countries. You say, right? 13 countries. So imagine that if you're gonna spend at least 3 to 4 days. If you spend 3 to 4 days in a country, you can create content of approximately an hour to show per country, basically. So with that being said, these are the numbers that I got. With a product, the material created at that level, to be able to place it into one of these companies, Nat Geo, Discovery, any of these channels, Travel Channel, they
And
pay.
you just, but when you talk about National Geographic or some of these other open channels, you don't have to, you just upload it and they decide whether they take it.
No.
This content or not. So how do you?
You gotta create the product. They
No,
gotta choose if they pick it up now. You're right.
That was my question.
You're
So
right on
they
that.
have to choose it.
Yes.
So it's not, even though you hold the rights to it, you can still upload. And then they decide whether they
Exactly.
they run it or not.
So
And do you get compensated for that?
if you get your product bought from one of these companies, they will pay you around 2,000. The minimum they pay is 2,000 to 4,000 per minute, per edited minute of your show. So you're talking about 13 shows. So that's why, because you always have, I mean, this is a great opportunity,
But they pay by minute content, right?
exactly.
That's what I thought.
So when I
Yeah.
talked with
So-
Univision the other day, they looking at 3 different seasons, season 1, season 2, season 3, each led to one season.
And you
Exactly.
submit- Yeah.
Exactly, because they will do what I say is like, if you have how many countries all across you want to go 13, you can create
When
3
you
seasons.
send us the,
I send you
can
this.
you note and note the countries, please, on
Yeah,
the 13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the most important part that we're gonna need through this is like to understand how many days, if we have a map, a route map of where we're gonna stand, where we're gonna be standing, how many days, what cities, what areas,
Send me an email, whatever we need to put together and I put it together.
because that will be vital in order for us to understand how much content we have to get from every place.
Yeah, so that's
And the-
actually the itinerary.
Yeah.
Like how many days and what places are you going to stop, eat, stay? I mean, whatever the case may be, it has to be. Because that's the other thing that for selling this thing, people want to see what the daily route and itinerary is going to be
Okay.
beforehand.
So we're gonna be in charge of social media. Social media will manage it really, really good, and we have a great team that works on social media. We have a lot of capacity. We can do the, let me translate it. Today I'm like, we can
Well-
create the content to share.
Yeah.
So that people can share our content, so that people can get involved into it. The design, creating the content and creating the content that is gonna let us promote it with more media companies, with other media companies. And then this will be the ads,
Publicity, yeah, the advertising.
advertisement. You can do advertisement in every single country that you stop. You can get a lot of sponsors even before the get-go.
So,
let
so
me-
you're talking about another revenue stream.
I know.
Well, but this revenue stream is like, I was doing a number. If you multiply right there really quick, and being conservative, you put 40 minutes for $2,500. That is $100,000
That's a minute.
per show. So that's being in the lowest of the lowest.
That sounds great.
It is. So what I was thinking
If
is
you're
that
thinking-
If you can get it, how, like, what kind of challenges do you expect in trying to get a show like this picked up?
So he has a lot of experience. Let me tell something about Diego. Diego started on the radio, right? And then he loved the idea, the concept of news. I know what, see what he started. That's the only reason he's here. And then I saw him build an online news company that have people from all over the Latin America.
Yeah.
From Argentina to the US.
Mhm.
And he picking up news and get content from different countries. So he has the people to cover this already. He's working with them every day.
So as far as that, we can do, again, we can manage all that, like promote it, so, to get to the cities, and I don't know, maybe you don't understand the concept, but in some of these countries that you're gonna go with this trip, this is a positive part. And then, he, the right note, when he said, we gotta do some philanthropy part into the trip.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you talk to the city, they will throw a party for you to stop with your trucks over there and do something to the kids.
It's incredible.
If
Yes,
you,
they
if
need
you
so
just
much.
put the mayor saying, oh, thank you guys for stopping by and giving this to the kids, for the kids, it's Christmas, because they probably will never see a truck like that one. And that's the adventure that the people want to buy. People
that's a
want to
win-win
buy,
situation.
doesn't want to buy a $3 million truck to drive through I-78 or 476. They're gonna, so we gotta be very specific in what we're gonna do, but they wanna get to these parts. They don't wanna go to the big cities.
I mean-
they are tired of that.
So the other thing that you have to tie in here is that social impact.
Yeah.
In here. So everything that is going out, it's almost like the opening sentences, social impact, overland expeditions.
I
And
had
this
to,
is
I had
what
to
we
come out with
reach
a
for
trailer
Yeah.
and embrace both.
But we gotta engage in all that, and we can create it. So everything that is creating content and creating the concept and trying to sell something, an idea, we gotta be involved into it. Website. This is important, and I'm gonna tell what is important. And I think you have a different idea on this, maybe, but I will tell you why. This is key to have the people that manages your website, or the website has to completely understand what they are doing. It has to be in constant connection with the people that is out there in the field. So outsourcing, our idea is to make it home, to make it in home, to make this product in home. if we outsource somebody else to do the website, it's gonna be problem because you gotta be going back and forth with the information and if they don't get the concept.
I mean, it might have to be, it's pretty dense because it has to be like in WordPress.
Yeah.
And if it's in WordPress, then you manage it. If you're ready for somebody to follow you on the trip and they're gonna click on that, then it's an internal person that can do
Yeah.
that. You
Yeah.
can't be going back to Asaris. It has
Yeah.
to be WordPress so you can manage it.
I mean, I saw the opportunity.
No, that's fine. I'm just telling you.
Sorry, WordPress just.
So the photography, all the photography for the trip. This is another thing that we wanted to create, which is a rock page
Yeah.
of where we're gonna be stopping, so we can promote.
The
You know, hey guys, we're
itinerary.
gonna be getting over here. It's like I was saying, the other day, we gotta create something like when the circus was coming to the neighborhood.
So in.
That's the idea,
So
exactly.
in that itinerary, the website has to be clickable, meaning, oh, vamos a
Yes.
llegar al restaurante San Miguel de Fortunato, and they have to be able to click on that, right? So the itinerary has those places where you're going to
Yes.
stop,
Yes.
to eat or to stay or to visit, and they have to click on it so they can have
So-
information.
Something that I
Exactly.
saw,
And the other thing is like, if you plan it like a week ahead or 2 weeks ahead, you talk to local media and that's content for them. They will promote what you're doing.
Of course.
And that's free press.
and that
That's
is
great.
promotion for the sponsors.
Exactly.
Which
exactly,
sponsor doesn't wanna be in every news
Yeah,
outlet in the local country?
exactly.
Have you thought of launching like a launch page for this yet?
For this,
Yeah.
not yet,
Okay.
not yet. Not
Why?
yet.
Do you
We're,
guys have any recommendations?
Well, for launching businesses like this, usually in order to formulate like some sort of initial interest for consumers, like it's a minimal viable product. Like you
Yeah,
just make
and
a
then
launch
make
page
yeah,
and you get people to start looking at it.
But it has to be not
Yeah.
just a wireframe. It almost has to be a clickable prototype.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's a difference. If somebody tells you we can do a wireframe, that's not enough. Because they're two different things. So what he's saying, in order for you to start getting activity for the business on the page, so people can start looking at it, you can't just have a static page. You have to have something that's actually
interactive,
a
like if people can
clickable,
interact
an
with
actual
our-
clickable prototype,
can-
like of
we
a
can do that.
journey or of an itinerary
We can do that
or whatever it
immediately.
is.
we
I don't
gotta-
know what it is, I know they can do.
Okay, So no, honestly,
saw what he
it's fine.
did
It's
already.
great. It's a good idea. It's an excellent idea.
Yep.
So and then the contact, we're gonna
Because
create
the
a contact
investors,
page.
I'm
so
sorry,
that-
Diego, because when we send you the business plan and you start shopping it around, with investors are showing it, they're gonna need if you have a website, that's a big plus already for the investor, because you're in business at that point, you've launched it. There's gonna be iterations of it, many more, but you've got a website clickable
Let me tell
prototype.
you something that
Okay.
complement what you said. First appointment that we have in Europe, in Breda, with the Bliss Mobile company, I prepared those mates that I gave away, you remember? And when I gave the mate to the CEO, she looked at the mate and said, you guys already have marketing. She was like, wow, you have 2 steps ahead.
Yeah.
She was impressed with
And
that
that's
stupid
important,
mate.
yeah.
No, but that's basically what it is. And again, I want you to keep this in mind. And this is a team. You have a great team. So I think if we try to work together and we have the capacity to create the product.
So this
With
is
your
something,
support, hold on. At a minimum, $2,500 per minute edited. We're talking about $1,300,000 just to sell the 13. If we do 13, we can do more. But if we do 13, that's $1,300,000. And maybe this is something that can create a lot more income than your trips going around.
I'm gonna be honest. this-
No. But what I'm telling you is look at the potential, look at it and understand the potential of this thing.
This started like a retirement pleasure for me and my wife, and then developing a business. And then when the more I can look into that, I can see the exponential opportunity that it is.
Yeah.
I would say right now, in between the people to edit the videos and all the stuff, and this is a good thing. We don't have to create that content over here. So we don't count with an editor over here to do this kind of stuff. It will cost you $1,700 to $4,500 per day.
Yeah.
So we have people on the other side of the border where you save a lot. But
They
you
will
keep
go
paying
with
it's an
currency
adventure.
rates.
So no, and no, but this
Yeah, I
is,
mean, $250 son 5,000 pesos. I mean, that's the exchange rate. So for, instead of paying the 1,400, 1,500, let's pagar 5,000. I mean, that's $250.
In Argentina, it's people who work for $500 a month. Okay, so
well, professional in that area, let me put it this way. The guy that was the director of the video is an Oscar winner.
Campanella.
Juan Jose Campanella. He won the Oscar
For the Secreto de mis ojos. ¿Cómo se dice en Alemán? Secreto de mis ojos.
yeah, but so it's a foreign movie of the year in 2012, 2013. And as a philanthropist, kind of was helping this guy to create a movie that he can place it in somewhere like Netflix or stuff like that. But we have access to all that people. Whatever we want, we can do it. We can do it.
They're set up, yeah.
Then
So-
Diana and me were involved in an organization called Pan America Association.
I'm familiar with.
Okay, Pan American Association actually do all that. Right now, Pan American Association is out of content. They need a reason to survive or they're gonna go under. So when Abelardo, the CEO, called me last week, want to meet with me, and I throw the idea of what we're doing, Daniel, we have to have lunch. We want to partner with you because there's a Pan American plan. So and they have all the consuls.
That's the one where Romney from Pico was on
Yeah,
board, and this is the
Romney.
one that they have at the.
She actually was replying an email right now. No, I thought you was sending an email to them. No. We have a meeting on Tuesday.
So we didn't do a slide for the numbers because we are not defined yet in the amount of manpower that we're gonna need for this. But
So
for the
here's
numbers
what
that
I suggest, based.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is a separate revenue stream, what we're gonna do is we're going to incorporate, because you're the one that knows, those costs of those
Yeah.
numbers, but it's important to put it. Because the other thing investors
Yes.
and banks look for is how diversified are you in terms of your revenue stream?
exactly.
So if you don't have one thing coming in, so you've got to include, so that we can include in the business plan. So whatever you send us will be included in that. And then if you send us your part,
I
you
will
have,
send to it.
do the 13 trips, and then the rest we can do via email. If we have questions when we're running the pro forma, like the numbers.
So the numbers I'm gonna send you are gonna be based on American numbers.
Yep. Well,
Because, I mean, worst case
everything-
scenario,
so
we gotta
everything has to
run, we
be-
gotta have everything here.
Okay, so everything has to be, number one, it has to be in constants, okay? And number two, it has to be in US dollars. So that's the key
Yes,
for us to
yeah.
do the performance.
So what I need from you, Danielle, is in order for us to give you the numbers, because are gonna know that way, how many days the people is gonna be out, how much money they're gonna get paid, the equipment that we're gonna use, we gotta know who is gonna be in it. I mean, how many people we're gonna bring.
So we
on
can
that
sit
trip.
down and talk.
So-
I'm gonna need to talk with
A little bit
you.
of homework, yeah.
Yes.
And I
yes.
think, anything else, guys?
Okay,
It's a
so
great idea. I love that whole idea. It's a
So
good
that's-
idea.
But it is crazy to know that when I started looking at the numbers, we realized that this can be one strong leg for this project.
So
Because you gotta be
be honest, Professor, it's not a bad idea.
Well, no, but we have to, I'm looking at it from the perspective of the banks, the investors. I mean, I'm looking for funding, the strategic partnerships. So from that standpoint, even a good idea has to be vetted.
Have to be sellers.
Even a good idea has to be, no, but it has to be based on facts and
Oh, yeah.
research, and we have to have an appendix where all this research came from.
But for
because
the
they're gonna say,
research, guys,
"How
you
did
you
come
need
up
more
with this?"
research. What do you think has potential?
Yeah.
I think it has potential to make a lot of money, but it also needs to be done right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has the potential to
Yes,
fail,
yes, yes.
crash very hard, but I think if, you start off small and then you slowly add more roots, I think you can make something fantastic.
And I think based on what you send us and the numbers you send us, we're gonna look at that closely and determine with those itineraries, which one is gonna be the first one, the second one, the third. Right now, Argentina makes sense to me because of the 30% that you said. This makes sense to me because it's, obviously it's
The
another
situation
revenue.
is one feed the other.
That-
If you
that's-
don't have a long
that's
trip,
the
you
point,
cannot
yeah.
have this.
That's the whole point, yeah.
Yeah.
So but this can make. this
I'm
can
gonna
make-
leave this here, grab one each.
Go ahead, guys. Sorry, I have my presentation in Spanish.
No, no, no,
Leave it
no,
out,
no,
we're coming
no,
with-
it's perfect.
Guys,
We-
to